In 2020, the Australian government instigated a federal inquiry into food pricing and food security in remote Indigenous communities. This was a third food security report within 11 years in relation to our Aboriginal communities. In amongst the food security crisis, Aboriginal people and their children are also confronted with the poverty through the overcrowding of people in houses, extremely low school attendances, coupled with high unemployment rates. And these are main barriers that are standing in the way of these Aboriginal communities' future hopes and prosperity. We know it can be expensive to eat good food, and this contributes to the health inequalities of our Aboriginal populations, leading to higher rates of diet-related chronic diseases like diabetes, a major cause in the high mortality rates amongst my people.
I think food security is a worldwide problem. There's this disconnection where our food comes from, and none of our food is locally sourced anymore. It comes from down south, or it comes from overseas, and that's lies a problem when we want good, clean food and wholesome food, and it's hard to get that when you're so remote.
In 2020, I founded the Nova Peris Foundation to combat this food security crisis, to build social enterprises to create jobs and help self-determination, to help motivate our kids to attend school, and to help reduce poverty by building an economic environment to inspire our future generations. In 2020, I was alarmed to learn that close to 22% of the Tiwi Islands adult population had meaningful employment. That's almost 78% who do not have a job. I'd also learned that over the years that there is a desperate desire for Aboriginal people to run their own micro and small businesses.
Yeah, it'd be good for Tiwi people to own their own business. Yeah, restaurant, bakery, and butcher shop, mainly butcher shop. We all like meat. Yeah.
The Nova Peris Foundation is a solution to help Tiwi people and communities like this through to self-determination. It is one which combines business enterprise support with low-cost infrastructure whilst combating food security.
I know there's people in the communities that want to run businesses, and we want to have our own businesses here, but there's this disconnect in how to make that happen, and so we're only slowly just sort of getting to that point where sort of being self-reliant and having leaders that can show us how to do that sort of thing. And so I think this project would be like a jump start.
At the Nova Peris Foundation, we understand what the community needs are. We also understand exactly what help they have been crying out for. Melville Island's northwestern coastline at Pearl and Gympie Garden Point will be our first site. It is home to a beautiful art centre where Tiwi women gravitate towards daily. They paint and make pottery with such pride. They proudly showcase and celebrate Tiwi culture through both traditional and contemporary mediums. The Nova Peris Foundation social enterprise hubs will not only create jobs, but will further enable local artists with more opportunities through tourism. We will create a place for cultural pride and well-being.
Yeah, they can come to the art centre, learn about the culture, the Tiwi culture. We have that, for the community, not only for community, for visitors only to come. They'll have somewhere to sit and have food.
Another reason why I wanted to commence the Nova Peris Foundation on Pearl and Gympie Garden Point of the Tiwi Islands was because of my mother, Joan Peris. She was a member of the stolen generation. She was taken with 3 of her siblings to Garden Point when she was just 8 years old. My mother was trained as a domestic servant while she lived there, and she often spoke of the beautiful vegetable and fruit gardens her and the other kids grew whilst living on the mission. This year in 2021, 52 years after the mission closure, the Catholic Diocese of Darwin finally apologised to those who were abused at Garden Point. As part of the Nova Peris Foundation on Garden Point, we want to acknowledge this and honour all of the stolen generation members of Garden Point through a beautiful commemorative garden and a small museum. There have been many exceptional AFL players that have hailed and still hail from Pearl and Gympie Garden Point. They have won AFL premierships and some of the highest honours in the AFL, and they still to this day return back to the Tiwis hoping to continue to inspire and shine for their people. The Nova Peris Foundation has the ability to not only help Tiwi people become healthier and happier, but we will also transform social welfare into social enterprise.